we've been running the company, my goodness, we're coming to 3 decades,
Wow.
which is terrifying. One doesn't see the time go by, but maybe somewhere between 25 and 30 years we've been running it. And initially it was just the idea of that juggling could be, we loved the juggling that was around 25, 30 years ago, but it was limited in where it went and how it was presented. And we thought it had possibilities of other ways of existing, whether that be through the filter of dance, which has been certainly a constant, the dance. And then I guess last maybe 2 decades, we've opened the door to theatre, visual arts.
We do what we enjoy. We would enjoy seeing ourselves.
Yeah,
so
of course.
If we're happy with it, then that's it, we're happy.
Yeah, I think we make the things we would like to see in the world, and they didn't necessarily exist. You think, well, why isn't there leek juggling?
Why is
so we made leek juggling, and now there is leek juggling, and somebody else doesn't have to do it.
I'm so unfazed by that.
And then one day, Kati turns up, and so I'm juggling on the side of Covent Garden, and Kati turns up and says, "Oh, they're interesting clubs. Can I try them?" I was a bit like, "Yeah." So she picks up 2 clubs and she goes, reverse spin, catch behind the back, and I'm like, "Well, hello."
So I came to London to just learn the language and to be somewhere different a little bit. And went to Covent Garden.
Wow.
And went, whoa, that's amazing. I had never seen juggling before, even though we used 2 objects and we throw a fair amount. So it's a sort of a juggling. Yeah. But I hadn't seen like 3 object juggling. There's a lot of catching.
Objects.
And actually, me personally, I really love the objects. I wasn't very super flexible like some girls are. I just enjoyed the objects and the performing and all that.
Yeah.
But I think you were saying you were obsessed with the juggling. I think I have a similar kind of mindset from gymnastics, where you have to really practice a lot, like hours and hours. And I actually loved it. I used to love rehearsing and practicing. So I like going into a gym and doing 2 hours of facing the wall and just practicing.
Wow. We were in a relationship quite quickly, and
But we juggled first.
Did we juggle before?
Yeah, I think so. I think we juggled first.
Juggle and then sex. No, sex and juggling.
No,
sorry.
Yeah, most
really?
days first juggling.
Then sex.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wasn't
I get them
quite
confused.
that intimate, but
So
yes,
wait,
that's amazing. That's amazing.
Which one's the ones with the ring? Oh no, that's the juggling. Yes. There was a wonderful woman called Jill Clark, whose classes we used to adore, and I got a lot of courage up and phoned her from a phone booth.
Phone booth
days. And said, "Would you like to spend some time making a piece with us?" And she said yes, and I was so...
I remember because I was outside, he was on the phone, and he went...
Oh, wow.
But I feel, ironically, that the Cunningham Company in New York has just agreed to let us have some pieces and transform some Merce Cunningham pieces into our world.
Really?
And I had the similar sensation, and I feel like... I guess it's life, it's knocking on doors and seeing if people will come out to play. We got married at King's Cross. We got married at King's Cross, went to do dance class.
Yeah.
Then got on a ferry.
Bus and ferry.
Bus and ferry. Ate a millefeuille in Paris, got married, had the stamping.
Yeah, just about. He wasn't going to give it to us.
No, he wasn't. And then we came back and then we
crying,
married.
and then he gave us a stamp. And
you did the crying thing. That was good. I don't think we ever set out to be controversial. It just so happened that...
it was literally, again, the thing of we did what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
We wanted to use the whole space. When I came to juggling, I looked at some juggling and I thought, why are they just doing this?
Yes.
And because in gymnastics, you have to use the whole area. So I went, can't we just like use every corner of the space and diagonals and
really silly
going
things
backwards
like stuff that now, I mean, just going around here, this beautiful circus stuff that uses a space that now is taken for granted. Structure. When we started, there was nothing like that. Kati has an ability to add movement to juggling that I haven't. Genuinely, I have never seen in anybody else. Complex coordinations.
Unique,
and there's Kim in our company who's fantastic and who can follow those coordinations. There's a handful of people who can. But I would say it's unique to you, and I'm sure that comes from gymnastics. And I am sometimes jealous of, because the company does such dance-based work, of not having had a classical dance education.
But I would say that you've learned way more of how I do things than I've taken from you, because... he has the ability to improvise anywhere. He can do a show there and entertain people. I can't. Because I need a controlled environment. I need to know what I'm doing, and then I'm okay. But
I think you'll.
I'm a little bit better at it now, but in the beginning, like there was no way I could have just gone out and done a show.
Something that could be called art, like Smashed, pays for a lot of the other
Absolutely.
shows. The proper bankers' Christmas parties.
Yeah.
We'll take them, and maybe some people in the company will do them, but
If
we do.
they're offered.
If they're offered,
they're not
yeah.
offered so much anymore.
Yeah, it's
No,
funny
sure.
because some of the other people in the company organise them. For some reason, they don't phone us.
Yeah, strange.
I'm there, I'm waiting by my phone.
Yeah.
My phone doesn't ring.
Yeah, because you're headlining Sam as well.
Yeah,
so
no. Within the UK economy, arts economy, even though we have received a considerable amount of funding, I would say, considering the amount of work we do globally, we receive massively less funding than anybody else. We are a rare case of somehow self-funding a lot. So the duet existed in an experimental form in a piece called Septet. It had this music that went 1, 2, 3, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
I
people
literally
go,
don't know what you mean,
oh,
but
that's kind of interesting. And then I said to Kati, do you know, you put a slashy romantic song on this duet and everybody's going to go, ah. So we had a gig.
Was it not for your parents'
It was for my parents' wedding
And I
anniversary.
said, let's do the duet, but let's do it.
Let's
into
just put a slushy.
romantic Italian
Yeah.
song.
And then we did it in
Your
a few
dad
places
will
and
love it.
everybody went. And then all of it,
Do you
at
mean?
first I felt, this is strange to say, but I felt dirty from using music in such a manipulative way.
Yeah.
So this is 12 years into making shows,
yeah.
and I'm absolutely like, you must not use narrative, revolutionary, experimental work. And then all of a sudden I go, wow, theatre. Because the dirtiness that you feel using emotional music to manipulate a scene is actually theatre. I know it took me a long time to realise that.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, that is an enormous revelation. Then we did a very structural one called 2020.
We did for
20. So I think we did
was a
4
Olympic
big pieces
year.
with you.
Yeah.
And I would say working with you, sorry, I am
Yeah.
a terrible interrupter, I must
all right.
apologise. Working with you was also a catalyst in that you gave us a certain amount of artistic freedom that's very rare. That
Yeah.
it's almost Renaissance.
Oh wow, I like that. I'll take
It's
that
a
one away.
Renaissance thing where you go, here's a canvas, paint me something,
Yeah.
and I don't mind what you paint me. I miss Sweet Life.
Yeah,
Sweet
you
Life
did.
was fun.
But you first did that in the fountains, didn't you?
We
Trafalgar
did.
Square.
It was
That's
commissioned
So those are
by,
beautiful photos.
in fact, by Bradley
Yeah.
under a different
Yeah.
hat. Yes, yeah.
And that-
So
so I
you
never saw
and
that.
Bradley, yeah, both had a big influence of that commissioning, but being quite open with the commissioning, which I feel like times have changed, and maybe what I'm about to say is not the most fashionable thing, but I feel like we're imprisoned in a political left-wing idea of what political art is, which to me sometimes feels very restrictive. And in its worst form, which happens very rarely, it's Bolshevik art. It's happy women driving tractors
Wow.
in the fields of Russia.
Which I would also pay to see. That's a great
Maybe
show.
there's a show.
If you did
But
it
there's-
right, that
but
would be
there's-
amazing.
in its extreme. And so I feel like we are so worried about what we produce.
To someone wanting to go into world of outdoors, what's the great thing for you about being in an outdoor environment?
It's fantastic because it throws everything at you.
Yeah.
It's always a different situation. It can be super difficult because the weather is against you and the sun is in your eyes and somebody's shouting in the corner, somebody drunk going, Maggie, Maggie, and the music doesn't work, and
Wow.
there's all sorts of problems, but it's so satisfying when you
Yeah.
manage to go through those.
Yeah. Actually, they're seeing the faces for me
Yeah,
as well.
it's
That's,
very
I
nice.
love seeing.
Yeah.
Like today, there's a moment where I kind of, even though I'm pretending, there's a bit, my peripheral vision is watching the audience, and I feed off that. I remember.